Hello everybody, and welcome to Unliving the Lie, a channel where we talk about everything narcissistic abuse, sociopathic abuse, and domestic violence. Today we're going to shift gears just a little bit, but we are going to talk about narcissism. Hello everybody, and welcome to Unliving the Lie, a channel where we delve into everything narcissistic abuse, sociopathic abuse, and domestic violence. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit off topic, but it kind of is on topic. We're going to talk about narcissism, as you can see in the title. Is it a twin flame or is it a narcissist? Are twin flames real, or are we just trapped in a toxic, dysfunctional relationship and are trauma bonded and want desperately to believe that the reason this relationship is so difficult is because it's a spiritual relationship? Now, I myself was deep in the twin flame community from 2015 to about 2018. Well, a little longer than that. I finally this year in 2021 realized in my personal growth that the whole twin flame community is just a religion in and of itself, and most of the people trapped in the twin flame dogma are actually in narcissistic relationships. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that, because I'm going to compare the twin flame stages to the narcissistic abuse stages, and then you be the judge. You decide if this is something that is a sacred, pure relationship. You decide if you actually believe that we are not a whole being and a whole soul, and that there's another piece of us that's just missing, walking around, and we can't be whole until we have this person. And I do speak from experience. I'm not just like pulling things, out of my butt. I'm speaking from experience. I was deep in the twin flame community. I was a twin flame. I was one of the leaders in the twin flame community. I did card readings. I did healings and clearings, and I truly believed in the twin flame dogma because I was in a relationship with a covert narcissist, and the twin flame teachings, they fit the narrative of that relationship. So, and whatever happens to us in our life, on our journey, things that we get involved in, they're all meant to serve a purpose. But I just want to put this information out there to help people that are becoming disillusioned with the twin flame community, for the people that are sick and tired of waiting around for a person that's emotionally unavailable and trying to put a spiritual label on something just to rationalize the fact that you're being abused. Because the one thing I will tell you about abuse and its effect on the body, it doesn't matter if the person mentally discards you, ignores you, ghosts you, dumps you, and cheats on you, as opposed to slapping you in the face. The body inside has the identical physiological reaction, and trauma is created. So it doesn't necessarily mean that a person has to physically be hurting you and calling you names and hitting you. That's not the only way you can be abused. It's abusive when a person comes into your life and they love bomb you and they think you're the greatest person, then they suddenly start discarding you, or they disappear, or they tell you that they're married, or they run off, or you meet someone that's married, and all these different dynamics will go on, and these different excuses. I actually have a section on my website if you want to read more about that, where I go into more details of what some of these scenarios are with people that are in the twin flame community. Many of them have never met the person that they're claiming is their twin flame. They've strictly only met them online. They live in different countries. Many meet a person and they get involved in having a relationship with someone that's married to someone else, and then they think that, oh, I've got this intensive connection with this person, so this is my twin flame. And what they don't realize is going on, you're just trauma bonded to a person because it's toxic and it's unhealthy. The person is loving you and then discarding you. It causes chemical addictions within the body. That is what is causing the trauma bond. And many people in the twin flame community are actually truly believing that this spiritual, this symbiotic connection they have with this person is something spiritual, and it's not. not spiritual at all, because something that's spiritual and something that's sacred, no matter how much they try to rationalize it in the twin flame community, is not sacred. It's not spiritual. It's toxic. If you think about it, whatever the God of your understanding is, whatever that is, when something sacred and pure comes to you, is it going to feel bad or is it going to feel good? I mean, these people in these communities are truly, truly rationalizing being discarded by this person that they claim to be in love with, and they hold on, they hold on and they grip this idea that it's a sacred connection. They'll pay card readers to give them readings. They'll pay energy workers to do energy clearing on them and their twin flame, and they'll constantly be told to do your work, and then they're constantly told that this work is not the ultimate goal of this work, is not to get the twin flame, it's not to get that person, but really that's what it is. I mean, let's call a thing a thing. Everybody's paying all these people are having business models of making money off of people's pain. I mean, there's some big people that are in the twin flame community that I'm going to be doing podcasts on and exposing them as narcissists very quickly in the future, in a podcast where they are preying upon people's vulnerabilities, people's desperation to feel loved, and people that are trapped in cognitive dissonance and trauma bonds, wanting this person that is obviously abusing them and discarding them to be the one. And really what it is they're with a narcissist. That's the bottom line, what they're with. So in this video, we're going to talk about, I'm going to break down, and I actually have a free gift on my website, a chart where I have it all written out, and you can compare the stages, and then you can decide. Now, there's always going to be that person, and I'm prepared for this person to come at me and say, well, it's not a narcissist, it's a karmic partner if they're doing these things. Well, not really, because I see so many people in the twin flame community holding on to these toxic individuals and calling it a twin flame, and everything that goes on in their relationship matches the stages of the twin flame relationship. Everything does. So you're trying to tell me that, oh, it's really a karmic. So what you're saying is, like, what are you trying to say? What is a true twin flame relationship? Are you going against what the normal stages are supposed to be? And the reason none of it makes sense, the reason none of it fits, is because everybody's trying to take a square peg and force it into a circle peg. They're trying to rationalize and force something that's toxic to be spiritual and to be right. And that is cognitive dissonance. That is not healthy. If you want a divine sacred relationship, the myth that it's supposed to be hard and it's supposed to struggle and they're supposed to, if you're new, if you've never heard of the twin flame, I'll say real quick, I'll tell you what they teach as a twin flame, and then I will get into comparing the stages of the twin flame relationship to narcissistic abuse. So what people that are in the twin flame community believe, they believe that they're special souls that came here to this planet to do special work, which that isn't really bad, because many people did do that. That's not the part that's toxic. But then they take it in that they are one soul that is masculine and feminine, and this one soul splits into two different human bodies and incarnates on this planet. So basically what they're saying is, you are not whole. You've gone around your whole life never feeling whole because you need this other person that's another aspect of you. They literally believe that this other human being is an aspect of them, and they are the same person. And that's what they think. And that is how they are able to rationalize all of the toxic behavior. They claim that, and it's usually the masculine counterpart, and the masculine counterpart can be in a feminine earth body or not, but they go by like the energy and say the masculine counterpart is the runner. They're the one that runs away from the relationship. They're the ones that are emotionally unavailable because they're not spiritually awakened yet. And ironically, it's always the feminine, the women, that are the ones pursuing these types of relationships. There's a few men in the community, but it's mostly women. And the masculines are not awakened yet on this planet, and the feminine is more awakened. That's why she's in so much pain, because she knows that this relationship is sacred and divine, and he's just not awakened to that sacred divine relationship yet. So she has to do her work. And what is her work? Her work is to work on herself and love herself. And the whole time she's doing this work on herself to love herself, she's pining away for this other person, this other aspect of herself that is her. and she's pining away for this man who's often emotionally unavailable, often a drug addict, often, you know, a dysfunctional person, or they're married to somebody else and they can't be together. There's always something keeping this relationship from coming together. And people will pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get these card readers and these so-called fortune tellers and these so-called healers to give them answers as to when they're going. Are they getting closer to getting into union with their person? Are they getting closer? Is this person starting to wake up? And so they'll do energy clearing, and they'll do, and many claim that they've had these amazing spiritual awakenings since they've met this person, and they've had psychic abilities opened up to them. And there's explanations for that too. There's spiritual reasons for why people believe they suddenly have all these powerful psychic abilities, is because in this false program of the twin flame, there's entity attachment. Because what happens is people, they start to think spiritually that they're talking to their twin flame's higher self. They truly believe they're communicating in spirit to this entity that they believe is their twin flame's higher self. And really they're just talking to an entity. That could be a demonic spirit, it could be a mischievous spirit, it could, many believe that it's an alien, and that they're feeding off of the energy. They're feeding off of your energy as the divine feminine, as a woman, and you're getting all this energy and connection and love. Some will even have astral sex. If you guys want questions about that, we can do other videos on that. They will be having relationships with this entity. That's another aspect of this whole entire twin flame dynamic, where they believe that their twin flame is, they have not met them in the physical yet, but they've met this entity through their dreams and through lucid dreamings and through meditations. And this entity, which is actually a demonic spirit, is their lover, their twin flame, and they communicate with this entity. So the reason that they suddenly feel they have these powerful spiritual abilities suddenly is because they are communicating with a demonic entity. This demonic entity is feeding off of them and playing with them, playing games with them, just to get their energy. You guys have heard of the incubus, where it'll come to your dreams and sexually assault you, and there's a lot of things. Look up the incubus. That's what's going on. But they give it a new age label of, oh, it's my twin flame, it's divine and it's sacred. And I've talked to people that truly believe in their heart of hearts that this entity that's communicating with them is their twin flame, it's their divine partner. I mean, that's a whole other, that's not the narcissism that I'm going to get in today, but that's a whole other little subculture within the subculture of the twin flame community. There are many people that believe that, and it's actually pretty dangerous. But then there's the individuals, like where was my case and a lot of other people's case. You're in a toxic relationship with someone that someone refuses to commit to you, and you have this back and forth relationship of a person treating you like a friend with benefits, or they're just using you for sex because they're married to somebody else, and they lie to you. They're a narcissist. So that's the other aspect. And then you'll have people that will be in there that claim to be their twin flames, and what they are is just couples in relationships. There's quite a few of these couples that are in relationships that are actually narcissists, and they are taking people's money in the twin flame community and offering them healings and clearings and all this stuff, and telling them, you got to do your work, and you know, you've got to have faith in this twin flame union, and you're a special deity, you're a special being. You're always told, one of the draws of the twin flame community is you're told that you're this special being that came here. You're special. You're better than everybody else. You're this special person, and you and your twin flame are special. It's almost cultish. It's a cult, and it's a cult. Really, that's what it is. But I'm going to have future podcasts where I talk about some of these leaders, and I say leaders and cult leaders in the twin flame community, and they're here on YouTube, and they have thousands of followers. There's been articles, and journalists have written about some of them. There's actually a couple that's a man and a woman, and they're very much like cult leaders, and it's very insidious. And basically what they're doing is they're preying upon people that are in toxic relationships, and they want a rationalization for this relationship. They want to believe this relationship is spiritual. They don't want to believe they're a victim of domestic violence. They want to believe that this is spiritual, and this is part of the struggle, because that's what they teach. They teach that the part of the struggle is when you come together, you have conflict. And why do you have conflict when you come together? When you meet your twin flame, it's because you all have unhealed wounds. And when you meet your other half, when you meet the other half of your soul, then all of your old wounds are reactivated, and they come up, and you start fighting with each other. And usually the divine masculine, he'll run away, and really what it is the narcissistic discard. And I'm going to get into that. So If you have any questions about this, go to my website and click on, if you go down to my homepage, click on, there's a button that says, is this, do you learn if this is actually a narcissist or a twin flame? What is a twin flame? Is a twin flame even real? In my opinion, it is not. You could use the word twin flame if you want to describe someone that you have a soul connection with and you are two twin flames coming together. But as far as the teachings of that you're each one exact soul, no, you're not one exact soul. You are separate beings. We are sovereign beings. There's no other human being that comes to fulfill you. You fulfill yourself. You don't need another person. Your soul is whole and complete. It's not empty. It's not just a half of you. It's all complete. And that is another part of the teaching that's very toxic too. And I used to believe this stuff. I've had people that I was part of in the twin flame community that have blocked me and stopped talking to me simply because I'm speaking out and exposing the truth that this is all a sham. And there's so many people here on YouTube, card readers, tarot card readers, like it's become this giant racket and a way to make money off of people's pain. And you do have to journey to love yourself and find yourself before you find if you want a sacred relationship or you want a deep connected spiritual relationship with somebody that shares your values and shares your spiritual beliefs. You do have to come into oneness with yourself. You do have to heal yourself and look at your triggers, look at your wounds, and become a healthy person if you want to attract another healthy person. But see, the twin flame dogma keeps you absolutely stuck in that I'm working on myself to get this person to wake up, to get this other divine masculine to stop running away from me. And they'll tell you, it's almost like they'll actually gaslight you. That's what's going on. You're being gaslit by being told by these healers that, well, the work needs to be done on you. You need to not focus on that person. But they know damn well that that's what your focus is on. That's why you came to them for healing, right? You came to them for the healing and the clearing and the tarot card reading because you want to know when you're going to get with that person. You want to know when you're going to heal that person. They're going to wake up and see that you're their divine beloved counterpart, and they're going to stop treating you like shit, right? Because they make up excuses that, oh, they're treating you like shit because you've awakened all their inner childhood wounds, almost like making it your responsibility. So these gurus and teachers, they know damn well that even though they're saying, oh, well, you've got to just work on yourself, to do the work on yourself and become a whole person and stop being attached to the 3D. We want to be in the 5D. We want to be up in the special 5D dimension. And if you're down in the 3D dimension attached to your physical body and your physical life, you're never going to have your twin flame. Like, they say all this stuff to gaslight you into rationalizing why you are responsible for fixing you to awaken that other person, and it never ever happens. It never happens. You're on a spin cycle of toxic relationship, and these gurus that are in relationships with each other are just people in relationships. There's nothing special about them. They just have the gift of gab. And they know how to play upon your vulnerabilities of, I want to be with this person. Tell me what I need to do spiritually so I can heal myself, and then I can awaken my divine masculine. And then they tell you a bunch of stuff to do, and you do it, and you pay money. You purchase their webinars, you purchase their meditations, you purchase card readings, you watch every single YouTube channel that they have. You become addicted to that whole cycle. And then you keep giving money and you never get anything in return. You just keep getting told, you just have to do your work. You have to do your work and keep working on yourself and stop focusing on the divine masculine. They tell you over and over, stop focusing on that person, but yet that's the purpose of why you're paying them. And they really get you trapped. It's a racket. I mean, I can do more videos on this if people want more in-depth discussions about this. I can talk to you personally about it if you are a survivor of the twin flame dogma. And like I said, I have a section on my website. If you go to my website and you go to the home page, and you click the button Twin Flame or Narcissist, it'll take you to the whole page. And I actually have a mini class, and I have a clearing. If you resonate with this and you are ready to release the Twin Flame programming and get yourself out of it, I have a really powerful meditation. But for now, I want to get to, I know I've talked for like 19 minutes, and I said I wanted to talk about the stages. I wanted to compare the stages of the Twin Flame thing compared to narcissistic abuse. So the first stages of the Twin Flame is the bubble love. Some people call it the meeting of the twin, the preparing for the twin. You meet the person. So that's kind of like the love bombing of the narcissistic relationship. You meet this person. So you're on a date and you meet this person and you're incredibly attracted to this person, and this person seems to be absorbing and listening to every single thing that you say. They're just in rapture of you, and because they're in rapture of you, wanting to know everything about you, saying, oh my gosh, this feels so strange, like I feel like I've known you all my life, Candace. What is this special thing we have going on? And that person will say this stuff to you, and you're just like, because you're probably an empath and you're probably a sensitive person, and you probably have really been wanting a deep, meaningful relationship, you get sucked right in. Now that is the narcissist, the beginning of meeting a narcissist. That's what it feels like when you meet the narcissist for the first time. And that's simply because the narcissists are predators. They're animals. They study. They're going to study you. They pretend to mirror you, and they pretend to have all your interests. They pretend. Those of you that have been in the relationship with a narcissist, you know what I'm talking about. They pretend to have all your interests. They pretend to hang on your every word, and they are studying you. They are filing away everything about you. But none of it is because you're a sacred partner. None of it's because this is sacred, divine connection meant to be. It is simply they are predatorily studying you so they know how to love bomb you. So they know what to do to love bomb you, to con you, and to set you up for abuse later. So in the Twin Flame stages, they call this meeting of the Twin Flame. You meet the Twin Flame, so you've met this person. Okay, so then they call it, when you start the relationship, you're in the bubble love. Your relationship with them will seem perfect. It will feel perfect in every possible way. It feels like your Twin Flame fulfills every single need that you have, and everything you've ever possibly wanted, you have finally found. You are in paradise. That's the Twin Flame love bubble. So on the other side, let's compare the narcissistic stages of abuse, the idealization and love bombing. The narcissist shower their target with loving attention, compliments. They instantly tell you how you're different than anyone else they've ever seen. They describe you as this otherworldly connection. Notice the similarities. And these are things you can look up online, but you can also go and get my PDF and print it off. So that's the love. It's called bubble love in the Twin Flame stages. In the narcissistic abuse stages, it's called idealization and love bombing. Okay, so we move into so you're in the relationship with the person. You think this is fantastic. And then this is when it starts the Twin Flame separation, or the inner purging. In this stage, there's trouble in paradise as the ecstasy from the initial meeting wears off and the ego starts to flare up, and suddenly you're arguing and being treated poorly as old core wounds emerge out of the blue, and one of you, usually the male, separates from the female and tells you they don't want the relationship. And now the Twin Flame community will call this separation. This is usually the stage where you are absolutely in a state of shock. You're in a state of trauma. You feel bereft, and this is when you start finding, many times this is the stage people are in when they find the Twin Flame community, and then they find other people going through the same thing, and because it's being justified as a spiritual experience, and because you're so trauma bonded, because you're so upset, you start to think, oh yes, this is a Twin Flame, because this is what cults do. They feed upon your weaknesses, and this is when those cult leaders will get you. They'll get you when you're in this stage, after you've been love bombed or in the love bubble. And then suddenly the narcissist starts discarding you and devaluing you and treating you like shit. Maybe they don't separate from you. Maybe you're still living with them, and they start to devalue you and they start to put you down, and you start fighting with each other, and you're wondering, where did that fantastic person go that I was with in a relationship? Where did they go? Sometimes you're still living with them, and oftentimes, many many times they're married to someone else, or they discard you and leave you and they go off with someone else. And then in the twin flame community, they call that, oh, he's off with a karmic relationship. So while you work on yourself, he's with the karmic. That's what it's meant to be. And you find this community of people that all believe the dogma of, and they're all trapped in the twin flame cult, and they believe the dogma, they believe it, and you feel justified, and you're rationalizing all of this abusive behavior and all of your trauma bonding with this person and your desperation to be with this person. So what is the next stage? Okay, this is what the twin flames like to call the runner and chaser. As you start fighting, as fighting mounts, it's common for one partner to emotionally or physically withdraw and run away, like they run away from you to, and another, they run away from you to pursue a game of cat and mouse. Sometimes this involves emotional shutdown and silent treatments. Other times this involves physical separation, and in extreme cases, the permanent termination of the relationship. This is the twin flame version of it. So because you've brought up so many of their core wounds, they can't handle it. So they're physically getting away from you because they can't look within themselves. They don't want to look within themselves. They don't want to see that they're your twin flame. And sometimes they'll think they're your twin flame. Sometimes the narcissist will bring up the twin flame thing. I've heard that happening before, where they'll say, you're my soulmate, you're my twin flame. But it still follows these same cycles of the narcissistic discard. So what happens in the narcissistic abuse cycle, which is, so in the twin flame, it's called the runner and the chaser. So it's usually the male that runs away, and in the twin flame community, the feminine can be the runner or the chaser. Whichever one is the narcissist is the runner, okay? And the chaser is always the person that has been the victim of abuse. But in the twin flame community, they call it the chaser, and you're the one that wants the relationship. You're in pain. You don't understand why they're doing this to you, but you have learned, because you found the twin flame crap, that this is your sacred divine other half, and they just need to heal, and you coming into their life has awakened all their core wounds, and they just can't handle it. Okay, that's the spin the twin flame puts on it. Let's talk about what it really is. It's the narcissistic discard. The narcissist begins to reject their partner, and they finally discard them in favor of a new relationship that fills their needs. A narcissist only wants relationships to fuel their ego and sense of importance. So they will reject and discard whoever doesn't fill that need in favor of another person. With that, the narcissistic abuse cycle is complete, and another cycle will begin. So that's the narcissistic discard. So what's the next stage? In the twin flame, it's called reunion. So this will take a long time. These stages, the reunion is the same as the Hoover of the narcissist. And in many relationships, the narcissistic abuse cycle, there is this cycle of back and forth, and that's exactly what the cycle of narcissistic abuse is. You are trauma bonded, and you're trapped in cognitive dissonance. You know you're being treated poorly, you know it's not right, and you know you're miserable and you're unhappy because you're being abused. And you stay trapped in that cycle. It's even worse when you're trapped in the twin flame community, because you have people around you rationalizing the abuse. But you'll have people say, oh, well, if they're abusing you, that's just a karmic relationship. But really, there'll be other people that'll say that's just, that's, if you believe that's your twin flame, they'll allow you and tell you, if you believe that's your twin flame, then you have to have faith, and that, you have a part to play too, because you're the other half. So if they're a narcissist, that means you could be a narcissist too. There's so many different toxic things they will tell you to help you rationalize this sick relationship, because remember, they're making money off of you. They need you to stay believing in this twin flame toxic stuff, so they can continue to sell you their webinars, and they can continue to sell you their healing sessions. So they need you to still believe in the twin flame dogma. So many will tell you that, oh, a true twin flame doesn't hit you. Okay, fine. But even if you don't, okay, fine. So you're not approving of the physical violence that can happen. But what you're doing is you're approving of the mental abuse. And that's basically what goes on in the twin flame community. Mostly it's all the mental abuse that the narcissist puts on you. And they're rationalizing it and making excuses for it, so they can continue to make money off of you, and playing upon this pain that you're in, that you just are trauma bonded and want the narcissist to be a good person, and you want them to love you, and you want them to see you and listen to you, that you want them to stop gaslighting you and manipulating you and cheating on you and doing drugs. You want them to stop that. So then you find this false island of peace and hope in the twin flame community, that this isn't toxic. This is spiritual. And the 3D world doesn't understand, because remember, you're a special being. You're a special being that has special powers and came here to do special things. And I'm not saying that's not true, because many of you did come here to do special things, and you got stuck in the twin flame community, so you're not able to fulfill your mission. And that's another thing they will try to push. You need to find your spiritual mission, and that spiritual mission is promoting the cult. Your spiritual mission in the cult of the twin flame is to promote the cult. So your spiritual mission is like, you need to go do card readings and talk to other twin flames and keep it going. It's like this giant machine to keep it going, to start a blog about twin flames, to start telling your twin flame story, doing tarot card readings, learning your spiritual gifts, and talking to all these entities and all these spiritual beings that you're now connected to, because you're a twin flame, which you're really talking to demonic spirits. And they're making you feel like you have these special powers. Now, that being said, there are many people that have special spiritual abilities, and they are mediums and they are spiritual people, but there is a proper way to do it where you communicate with the higher powers, the higher angelic beings. You communicate with the divine, you communicate with God. There's different ways to do that. This video is not about that, but it's about the twin flame machine, how it is promoting narcissistic abuse and rationalizing it into something spiritual. So you think you've got all these people, and you've got friends, and you've met people, and you're all in the same boat, right? You're all in this narcissistic abusive relationship where you're being discarded by this person, and there's all different types of stories. Some are with married people, some are just with some emotionally unavailable jerks, some are just with drug addicts, and they're doing all this healing work and trying to fix themselves so they can fix this person, so they can be in this relationship together. And many have become disillusioned and have left the twin flame dogma, and they have gone on to do other spiritual work. It's not sustainable, because you never ever get the reward. It's like a carrot on a string. You're constantly trying to get that carrot, and you never get it. And you have all these people around you keeping you trapped in this, so they can continue to make money off of you, and they can continue to tell you, well, you got to have faith. You got to have faith in this whole thing. You know this person's your twin flame. You just have to love yourself enough, and all you want is a loving, committed relationship. And you start to see loving, committed relationships as something that's not meant for you. That you're this special being that is supposed to be in this spiritual relationship that's actually just a toxic relationship, and you're trapped in it. You are absolutely trapped in a toxic cycle, and it's being pushed into your mind that this is something spiritual, this is something good. I've known highly intelligent, beautiful women that end up with psycho men. Like, I had a friend, she was beautiful. She was a model. She did some small parts in Hollywood and movies. She was also a filmmaker. She was also a professional hypnotherapist. She had a lot going for her. She was also a survivor of domestic violence. And then what happens? She meets this other man who was a Disney star, celebrity, when he was a child, and he was charged with domestic violence. But she believed that this man is her twin flame. So she would visit him in jail. She would rationalize all his behavior. She blamed the woman. The woman was a demonic entity. Like, see how deep it goes. What was happening is she's still trapped in the cycle of trauma and abuse. She was a survivor of domestic violence, and then she got away from that, and then she found the twin flame community, which many of us do. We find the twin flame community at times in our life when we want answers, we want spiritual answers. And then she meets another man that she swears is her twin flame, her true twin flame. And to this day, she swears he's her true twin flame, even though he was in jail for domestic violence. He was charged with it. He did drugs. He discarded her. He would come and see her, and he wouldn't, he was emotionally unavailable for her. And she's trapped in it. She believes this man is her twin flame, and they're meant to be together. Do you see how toxic that is? Like, how do you survive a relationship with someone that almost killed you, and then you go into a spiritual community, and then you meet this man who did it to another woman, Like, this is the toxicity of the twin flame community. So I have known beautiful, intelligent, this is a beautiful, intelligent woman. She's not some dummy, but she was sucked into this thing. And I was sucked into this thing too. That's how her and I met. She stopped talking to me. She blocked me on Facebook. And I don't know if it's because, you know, of this or not, but because I wasn't supporting the twin flame stuff anymore. This is deep for people. It's like getting someone out of a cult and topping that with the abuse cycle. So you've got a cult promoting this cycle of abuse. And so you're in the cycle of abuse. You're trauma bonded to this sick person, this abusive person. And then you're addicted to this cult that is telling you that this is not toxic, it's not abusive, it is spiritual. And you're a spiritually minded person, and that's the reason you're sucked into it. You're seeking meaning in your life. You absolutely want meaning in your life. You're tired of organized religion. You want something spiritually meaningful, because you're a sensitive person. You do probably have a lot of amazing spiritual gifts. But in the twin flame community, you must use those amazing spiritual gifts to promote the cult. This is real stuff, guys, and I'm anticipating possibly getting angry comments on this video, and I am prepared for that, because I'm not just some person just pulling stuff out of my butt. I was in this community. I was a leader in this community, and then I started to become disillusioned with it when I started realizing this is a bunch of crap. Like, I was in a psychotically 2 abusive relationships while I was in this cult, and there's a lot of other things which, for time frame, I can do another video on this. There's spiritual reasons this is happening. There are dark, when I talked about the demonic entities, there are dark alien entities that are feeding off of humanity, and they feed off of our misery and our pain, and the twin flame community produces a lot of that heavy energy of fear and pain, because you're being abused, and then you're being forced to look at yourself and why is this going on, and trying to heal yourself, when the truth is you need to just get out of the cycle of abuse, get the fuck away from this abusive person, get out of the whole entire thing and go work on yourself and heal. Not work on yourself and heal so you can get the abuser or your twin flame to suddenly be a good person and see you as their twin flame. It also produces a lot of delusional stuff with people. Like, if you're a delusional type person, and I had a woman one time in the twin flame, she swore her dentist or her chiropractor was her twin flame, and she'd only seen the man once or twice, and it was a doctor. And she's, in her mind, her head, so delusional, thinking, this is my twin flame. And this is the kind of stuff it is producing, and they are okay with it. Why? Because they need you to stay in this belief system so you can continue to pay them. Okay, so let's talk about the final stages. We're going to talk about the reunion, which is what the twin flames say when they finally get back together. When the twin flame is finally awakening to themselves, and they miss you, and they realize once you have done all your spiritual work, your divine masculine begins to come back to you and initiates contact with you in the physical reality. This is a sign that you have begun to purge all of your unhealed wounds, and they tell you they were wrong and they miss you. It feels like discovering each other all over again. So let me tell you what's really happening. The narcissistic Hoover. The narcissist will suddenly reach out to you again to suck their victim back into a relationship with them, because they're running low on their narcissistic supply. When the narcissist shows up again apologizing or promising that everything will be wonderful, you want to believe, and you get sucked back in, and the love bombing begins again, and the cycle starts all over, right? So many times in the twin flame community, I will know there are women that will be in the devaluation phase, discard phase, which they call separation in the twin flame community. And then all of a sudden they'll get a text from their divine masculine, right? And the divine masculine starts to awaken and come back to them, and the divine masculine feels them on an energetic level, that they're doing all this powerful work on themselves, right? And then the divine masculine feels it, and they start coming back to you. All that is the narcissistic Hoover. the narcissist has used up their one supply, or maybe they still have it and they miss you and they want more supply. They're running low on supply. They don't miss you, they miss their doormat. And so then they will hoover you back in and they will love bomb you, and things will feel good for a little while, and then you'll, and then all of a sudden though, it'll start back up again. And this happens in the twin flame thing. You think you've gotten reunion, but then they start to discard you again. But then you have a rationalization for that. Well, you just came together in the time that you needed to come together to heal each other, and the masculine wasn't quite ready yet, so they had to go into separation again. And the cycle keeps repeating. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. The bottom line is, you are not in a sacred relationship. If any of this is happening to you, you are in a toxic relationship, possibly with a narcissist, even a sociopath. And even if they don't hit you, because that's how they rationalize it in the twin flame community. So if somebody's hitting you, they'll say, oh, well, that's just a karmic partner. But 9 times out of 10, it's not that extreme. It's usually a narcissist emotionally abusing you. But that's your twin flame. As long as they don't hit you, that's your twin flame. If they hit you, it's a karmic. This is what they do, guys. I'm just being real. I'm just being raw. This is truth. I was in this community. And I used to try to rationalize, well, maybe there still is such a thing as a twin flame. Maybe it's just different. I think it's a human construct. Yes, do we have soulmates and people that we share things with and we've shared past lives with? Absolutely. Because I am a spiritual person. I do not believe that this is our only incarnation on this planet, that we've reincarnated on this planet many times, and we all have spiritual gifts and we all have spiritual abilities and spiritual missions to do things good on this planet. But you are one full soul. You don't share a part of your soul with someone else. You are a sovereign being that came to this planet to experience the visceral tactile feeling of being human. And if you feel a longing for somebody, a partner, a male, a mate, you probably have trauma. It has nothing to do with, I'm seeking my soulmate and my twin flame. You have trauma. You had a childhood experience that gave you trauma, and you're holding on to that trauma, thinking and longing for a person to come and love you. That's a vulnerability that many, many, many humans have. And we would like to think it's something outside of ourselves that we need to make us feel better, and it is not. You do not get something outside of yourself to feel better, and that is what the twin flame teaching is all about, even though they gaslight you and tell you it's not about that. They gaslight you and tell you it's all about you doing your spiritual inner work and the true inner twin flame within the self. Okay, if that was the case, then why all the card readers? Why all the webinars? Why all of the talking about, why all of that if it was that simple? Because it's not. Because it's a made-up religion. It has become a made-up religion. And people get very defensive about it, because when you're trapped in an abusive relationship, you don't, until you're ready to admit you're in an abusive relationship, it's cognitive dissonance. You have two conflicting thoughts in your mind. You want to believe that this person will get better and stop hurting you. You don't want to face the truth that you're being abused and you need to get away from this person. And you don't want to face the truth that this person is a horrible, abusive monster that is never ever going to change because they're a narcissist or a sociopath. You just don't want to wrap your mind around that. You want to continue to rationalize it. And then it's even worse when you find the twin flame community and you feel like there's a spiritual reason and nobody understands you, and you have even more of a reason to hunker down and stay in a toxic relationship. Well, I have to tell you, eventually you will leave the twin flame dogma. Now, people go back and forth with it until they're ready to leave. It's simply because they're making money off of it, and they don't want to get out of the cognitive dissonance. They don't want to admit that they've been wrong the entire time, because then they think all of their messages from the divine, which are demonic entities talking to them and keeping them trapped in it, they don't want to see that. They don't want to admit that they've been fooled, and it becomes an ego thing. Well, I don't care about ego. I was fooled, I was fooled. And it started when I had a guru doing energy work on me, and I believe she was implanting things within my energy. I believe she was planting, because I met another person that was in the same group with this woman right before I got sucked into the Twin Flame community, and she had a lot of issues going on in her life too. So you do have to be careful of some of these so-called gurus and energy workers, even if they're not in the Twin Flame community, that they implant things in your energy body, implant thought forms, and they themselves have dark entity attachments, and they're going to attach things to you and mess with your energy. Like, you've got to really be careful. And I was sucked into this person because I trusted her. And I'm not saying she's the reason I met my abusers, and but I do believe she's the reason I got pulled into the Twin Flame community, because I think she implanted things within me. But that's another topic for another day. So if you are struggling and conflicted, and you feel like you're in cognitive dissonance, if you feel like I'm sick and tired of this person abusing me, I think they're my twin flame, but this feels so toxic, reach out to me. Go to my website, get my free PDF. If you really want to clear out, if you really resonate with this, and you're sick and tired of you're ready to step out of the Twin Flame cult, I have a powerful energy releasing, clearing meditation on my website that you can purchase. It's me. You can listen to it as many times as you want. It will clear all the false programs out of you, because that's what it is. You've been communicating with these entities. You've been letting these gurus into your energy body, and they've been is this a twin flame, or is this a narcissist? This is Candace Renee Moon and Unliving the Lie. And my video got cut off while I was recording. It was really strange. Sometimes when I talk about these kinds of things, when I start talking about dark entities, demonic entities, my electronics will get messed with. So I was totally cut off mid-sentence back there. So it was not on purpose that I was talking about this guru that I had, that I believe was implanting entities and false programs within my energy body. And sometimes I don't think these twin flame gurus do it on purpose, because I think they're possessed themselves with entities. They are possessed themselves, and they are part of the machine that is feeding off of spiritual women's energy, mostly women, some men, but it's mostly women. And I had that experience when she was doing all these energy healings. I even paid like a big chunk of money to her for her sessions. I mean, a lot of money. I would see her every month, and she was in my energy body doing who knows what. I have no idea. But that was around the time when there was a lot of chaos in my life, and I had got sucked into the Twin Flame community and all the false programs of the Twin Flame community. And I'm not saying these people are maliciously doing things to you. Most of them truly believe what they're doing is right. Now, there's some of them that I know are narcissists, and like I said, I'm going to do a podcast on those narcissists. I'm going to highlight them and pick them apart. But if you feel that this resonates with you, and you feel like you want to clear all of this out, because there's not that many of us talking about this. There's a few other creators here on YouTube talking about it, but I have yet to really see anyone actually talk about the fact that this is the same as narcissistic abuse. There may be someone out there that does, but they're not really actively talking about it, because most people, they're still trapped. There's some of us that are just getting out of the Twin Flame cult, and we're talking about it. So if you are one of those people that is getting out of the Twin Flame cult, and you would like support, you'd like to talk to me, please talk to me. If you're somebody that's on the fence and you're not sure, come talk to me. But this is, see, all of a sudden I'm having all these technical difficulties where, my video stuff isn't working. And this is when I know I'm in that place where I'm speaking truth, that there's powers that don't want it revealed. So you are not with a twin flame. The twin flame is a made-up human construct. You are trapped in the cycle of abuse. And your first step in feeling better is to tell yourself the truth. Okay? True sacred relationship doesn't hurt like a twin flame relationship. And if you see people that are gurus that are together, all that is they're people that are in a relationship trying to make money off of other people that are in pain. And they label themselves as twin flames. So many of those couples that were twin flames doing things together end up breaking up. And most people that I know that were around in the twin flame community, they've abandoned all their twin flame groups. The twin flame groups are all abandoned. Nobody goes in there anymore. Everybody has become disillusioned with it because it cannot be sustained. Because it's abuse. It's the cycle of abuse. So, with that being said, if you relate to any of this, if any of this resonates or is pulling at you, connect with me. Like this video, subscribe, share this with your friends and family, or anybody that you think would need to hear this. Anyone that you think needs to hear this. Maybe you know someone that is trapped in the twin flame cult and you want them to get out and you want to help them. Share this video with them. Send me an email, connect with me, talk to me. Go to my website, get my free PDF. That way you can have a printout of the stages that I just went through, that I compared when I compared the stages of the twin flame versus narcissistic abuse cycle. So you can have that PDF and print it off and use it. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Click the like button, click subscribe. Share this with anyone that would like to hear it. Connect with me if you resonate with any of this. And we will talk again soon. Namaste.